Surprise stream for you guys here today. I hope everything's set up right. At least it's recording too. I don't know. We're going to talk about some tight ends today, and we're going to do it using my Fusion Rookie Vision tool. If you haven't checked this out, go to the website fusionffp.com, and it's right there. Go to it, and you'll have a link right here. All these things are linked, really. It'll take you to the same place. Click on the link, take you there. Welcome to the tool. It'll tell you a little bit about, well, first of all, where you can support me, where you can support Dave, who provided all the database that this is built off of. It tells you what it can do, tells you how to use it. First thing is you're going to make your own copy, and then you can edit it and everything you need to do. We've already done that, so I'm going to close that out. And I'm going to go over to my version right here. It's already saved one that I can edit it and not mess it up everything everyone else sees. And there we go. You get to see this beautiful, I should move a little to the side, I guess. All this beautiful bars and stuff. And we're going to talk about tight ends today. So debate was raging about Kyle Pitts. Is he truly an elite generational tight end? And I don't know, because I kind of had internal debate with myself. Because at one end I was like, okay, if he really is that good and he's more of a receiver than anything, then there's not a lot of strong prospects necessarily in this class after you get through the first like 7 or 8, depending on if it's super flex or not, right? So I told myself, he could be worth it. This could be a really game-changing kind of player. So I looked at it a little bit closer, and you see people posting on Twitter, and here we have Player Profiler. I pulled it up, looked at Kyle Pitts, and because we just got his testing, and he ran like a 4.44 pro day, which even when you adjust that up to a 4.49, okay, and then there's his burst score, or speed score I should say, and you've got burst score and all this stuff, agility, catch radius, all that. 6'6", 245, 33.5 arm length. Like, it's just looks really great. And then I saw down here, and it had 32.3% college dominator. Okay. College yards per reception, 96th percentile. Breakout age, 95th percentile. SparkX, whatever. Not even paying attention to that. Okay, looks pretty good. We'll look at his production. Looks pretty strong. He's up in the mid-teens for target share and so on. And I put it into my own. And I put in his data, what came in at, all that. And I was looking at it, and I was trying to figure out why my numbers for, see if I can find in between here somewhere. Right there. So my numbers for college production weren't coming out with the same percentiles. I don't know exactly where they're getting theirs. I'm not saying that they're wrong. They're probably just using a different sample. And in some cases, maybe technically different stats. But college yards per reception at 14.9, that's 82 percentile. College yards per reception, 17.9. So that's his career yards per reception. And look, I'm using my own tool here so you guys can see. This is very flexible. So I looked up college receiving yards. It's all here. So I was thinking, okay, maybe it's best. So let's find, is there yards per reception best? And see what it's kind of come up with. Its best is 24.3, and that really is 95th percentile. But again, that's not what they have, and they have 17.9 as 96th. Now, obviously, it's a different metric, so maybe it's 96th in the metric they're looking at. So if it's not best and it's not career, is it average yards per reception? 18.1. I mean, that's very close, and now he's up in that percentile. Okay. That must be what they're looking at. So I was trying to match these things up because, like I said, my percentiles were not coming out the same. College dominator, You can look at that in a couple different ways. Let's pull up, I don't need fantasy points here. Let's pull up College Dominator, which should be this one, 22. But it's not. So I don't know which thing they are using or how they're getting theirs. Average combined. And I just don't know exactly which metrics they're looking at to get these percentiles. Like I said, we were able to do average yards per reception to find something close to the one they have here, and that's great. But even some of these other details, as far as the metrics, I'm looking at it, and immediately as soon as I saw all of the numbers up here, not the college production or the stats down here, but just his measurements and his speed and all those things from pro day, right? So I'm looking at it, I'm like thinking, well, some of that, his speed and everything looks like Vernon Davis. That's why I got him up here on the other side of my own rookie vision. And you compare those, and well, Vernon Davis was better in a lot of ways. And a lot of these production metrics that I use, adjusted yards per reception, receiving yards, market share, age adjusted, combined dominators. So that should be very similar to what they were talking about, but it's age adjusted. And as you can see, I mean, he doesn't have a truly, he has a really good season, his second year. But his best when it came to some of these things, like that yards per reception, all the way up at 24, remember? That was his last year. So there's some of these things that age adjusted doesn't really help him, but he is a young player still, so I'm not going to hold it against him. But then I couldn't help but thinking, because Vernon Davis, he's not, as you can see, he's not as tall. He's 2 inches almost shorter, at least 2.5, over 2 inches shorter. But he was a little bit more solid, okay, but faster. So there's some of these things that don't quite line up exactly. He had a better burst score, but technically height adjusted speed score is less because, of course, Kyle Pitts is taller and ran just nearly the same speed. So he reminded me, actually, when I was thinking of it, of a certain guy from a couple years back who has the exact same 6'6", 247 instead of 45, and a 34-inch arm instead of 33.5. So he's actually longer arms and a tiny bit heavier. When in the second round, he ran a 4.54, so that's only 0.05 slower than the 4.49 adjusted time, but 4.49 according to Player Profiler. We're going to stay true to what they have here. And truly elite at everything across the board athletically. Gesicki was just had a ridiculous pro day. Combine, actually. No, these were truly combine numbers. And then we look at his dominator. These things aren't as nice, right? Yards per reception is nowhere near. Decent breakout, decent dominator. But, he just didn't have near the college production. So that's why it's not fun. It's not fair to line them up, even if he is, 98th, 99th in so many of these physical things. So anyway, all right, let's get to the point, Josh. All right, so I'm trying to figure out what makes Kyle Pitts worth it. Because for Kyle Pitts, basically there's two lines of thinking. Either Kyle Pitts and any perfect tight end specimen, profile, whatever you want to say, for them to be worth a rookie dynasty, fantasy football dynasty, make sure that we're on the same page. That's what we're talking about here. I'm not talking about NFL first round. I'm talking about a top 12 pick in a rookie draft. In order for him to be worth a first rounder, any tight end to be worth a first rounder, I got to see some stuff out of him. And it can't just be a physical specimen, because we've seen physical specimens that have not immediately translated to being productive year one. And if I'm going to be paying a first, I want production in year 1, 2, and definitely by year 3. But even a Vernon Davis, he had 400 or 500 yard kind of seasons. He had some good looking, decent seasons, but his first 3 years were not worthy of a first round. He kicks it in his fourth year and has like 4 or 5 years straight of really solid production that you would think might be worth it, but it doesn't start year one. You have to be getting stuff year one for these guys to be worth first round picks. That's the whole point. If you're taking a tight end in the first round, he's got to be producing year one. But these guys don't. At the same time, I want to say that, like my Josh Crocker, my friend, has been saying, and I've noted it before, the truly elite tight ends do it year one. Gronkowski, Kelsey, even Kittle, he was doing it at the very end of the season. He kind of had a, I don't want to say, just a delayed season. I hate holding that against him. Waller, I mean, he didn't really have a chance. Once he had a full-on season as his first season as a tight end, he did it. He's an unusual case because he was delayed because of personal reasons and everything. But let's think about some of these guys that do it year one, right? So let's look at what a year-end elite tight end looks like, okay? Let's look at a Rob Gronkowski. So this is what, and this is what I thought was weird when I was seeing all those numbers and 96th percentiles and stuff on Player Profiler for Kyle Pitts. Meanwhile, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, yeah, but Gronk was way better. Was he just a couple percentile points better? I put it in my vision tool here. No, he's much better production-wise. He just is. He is much better. And I was like, well, was Kyle Pitts even the best production tight end in this class? I don't think he is. And I'm not saying, look, this is Pat Freiermuth. I don't even have his combine data in, or pro day or whatever. He has better numbers as far as what I look at, and at what I'm seeing really high for the players that were really good. He's just as good. He's better than Kyle Pitts. And I'm not saying that's a strike against Kyle Pitts somehow. Kyle Pitts is the complete package. He is both production and athletics. Gronkowski was not the measurable specimen. He was big. He was tall, solid. He is explosive with the burst and has a good adjusted height speed score. But that's a solid broad, decent vertical, 4.7. 40. That doesn't blow anyone away. That's 59th percentile, right? But Gronk had other things. He had the proven college production down here, right? So, well, okay, what's someone else? Did it year one. Kelsey. He doesn't even have the fancy looking high bars in the college production. Okay? He doesn't even have it. Who else produced year one? Let's look at Waller just as an example. Again, it's an unusual case for him. Okay. Great numbers through there. Someone who I don't even think is that good, but he did technically produce some year one. I think then got overrated. But look. Again, let's get Pitts up here again. These are just as good, if not better, in my age-adjusted things, breakout age, and in some of these other things. Just as good, if not better. A couple of these things I think I have twice. I must have typed it in again. Let's fix that. So what do we want to look at here? I already have... So I went with best up here, and then I kind of wanted to get a sense of the volume they had combined. I put that one in there for that. That was what we think Player Profiler had. I really like the yards per team pass attempt. We got best and average here. Okay. Let's pull up average combined market share. Let's pull up their best. I want to know what their best receiving yards market share was. You know, what their most dominant in the passing game season, how good would look, Hunter Henry was best in his best season, then Kyle Pitts. I'm not saying Kyle Pitts is not the best tight end in this class. I'm not saying I wouldn't take him in a single quarterback at the end of the first round, maybe. I'm not saying not to draft him. I'm saying I'm not going to draft him before receivers and running backs that have the draft capital and have the opportunity and the talent to do more than a tight end who's coming into the NFL at a difficult position that has historically taken more time to develop. And what I'm saying is the guys that produce year one, they're lottery tickets. They are lottery tickets. Gronkowski was about as a good a pick as you could have. You could even say the Hunter Henry here. If there's anything about those year one guys, they've done it in college. And they're going to go right on and doing it in the NFL, regardless of what their athletics are. Now, the athletics, the athletics, I like looking at once a tight end is in the NFL, and once I've seen them doing something to see if they can be a breakout. Okay, that's how I was on Pitts. I mean, that's how I was on Kittle, right? Because those athletic measurables, those increase the ceiling. And so I like looking at that once they're in the NFL. But we're talking about rookies coming into the NFL. This is a different story. It's not the same. Everyone wants to look at the athletics for a tight end, and I'm really struggling with that, and I'm wondering if we need to almost start ignoring, there's thresholds, right? You want to see below a 4.7, 4.8 in speed. But here we've got Hunter Henry, Gronk. That was the same speed as Gronk, I'm pretty sure. Who else can I think of? I was just thinking about someone, Hawkinson, did a decent first year, okay? Top 12-ish, I think. And then last year slipped into 3, probably should have been 3rd, but slipped into 3 with some injury to Kittle and so on. 4.7. I think you're just looking for somebody who meets some thresholds, but you want the college proven production. Okay. Noah Fant is a guy who is a perfect candidate to now, after some time in the NFL, 2-3 years in, he's ready to unlock, and he has the physical capabilities to do it. And that's what makes him exciting as a NFL breakout, but not as a rookie breakout. He even had some of the college production, but Hawkinson was outperforming him and out volume and just playtime demand, right? And you can say that's the offense's fault, but the fact is, if somebody's playing over somebody else, that means the team thinks that guy's better, right? So Noah Fant was losing out to Hawkinson. That tells me that they thought that Hawkinson was better, at least in some respects, right? Who is someone else? I was just thinking about it a minute ago and I lost Engram. Year one guy. Year one, broke out. If you read my old articles and everything, he was a guy I was trying to tell you to pick up and play as a streamer, and then you could have ended up just holding on to him. And yeah, he hasn't panned out as seasons have gone on, but just look at this. It's solid. It's comparable. So Kyle Pitts is like an Evan Engram to me at this point. Bigger. Not even as fast, right? If I had to compare Kyle Pitts to somebody, it would be Evan Engram, which is a positive. Again, I'm not trying to be contrarian here because he could. This is maybe the better comparable for him than a Vernon Davis. I don't know if he's it. He is. I was going to say Jason Witten. Again, here's another year one, year in, year out, top 5, 10 tight end, at least 10, sometimes 5. Jason Witten. Does that look like a profile of a tight end that is worth a first round pick? I don't think it does, but he did it. That's what I'm trying to say. The tight ends that are going to actually be productive year one, I'm not sure we know what it is. And we can keep digging into it. And if somebody thinks they find the key, the magic formula to figure it out, what all Jason Witten and Gronkowski and Kelsey and Engram all have in common, let me know. Because I'm just gonna look at the Kelsey one again. Look at that. There is nothing about that tells me that Travis Kelsey is going to be productive right away, has some injury, but then go on to be just a top 3 and eventually top number 1 tight end for year after year after year after year after year. Yeah, fine. There's nothing there that tells me that. So how can I conclude that Kyle Pitts, because he looks like this, means he's going to be as good as that when that doesn't look like that? Like, you're telling me that these things are telling you he's going to be that good. And I'm telling you, Travis Kelsey didn't even have those things that you're saying would have told you he would be Travis Kelsey. But Travis Kelsey is Travis Kelsey. They're lottery picks. They are one in, I would say, a million, but obviously the draft narrows it down. But you're just going to you're going to go bankrupt spending all your first round picks on lottery picks, chasing these guys. And they're not, you might get lucky. You might get lucky. You might be lucky in Kyle Pitts, but you know what? The guy who gets Freiermuth in the second round, it could just as easily be him. And that's nothing against Kyle Pitts. It's not to say he's not better, truly. Maybe Freiermuth just goes to a better situation. There's so many variables here. The point is taking the tight end in the first round, even if he looks like a Kyle Pitts, who looks like a Vernon Davis, who looks like a Mike Gesicki, who looks like an Evan Engram, right? It is a real tough call to say they're going to be worth a first round, because even Engram, who looked like he would be worth that first round, then started disappointing and getting injured and all that stuff. And I'm not saying I'm just saying everyone's going to find a way to disappoint in a different way, because that's just the NFL. That's just reality. Everything's stacked against them succeeding to the extent that you want. That's why Gronkowski is so just special. That's what's so special about Gronkowski, so special about Travis Kelsey, that he continues doing it. And I think Waller too and he's one of these guys who has athleticism. Kittle, he has the athleticism to unlock it the rest of the way. I don't think we pulled Kittle up here, so I will, just so you can see. Again, he didn't have these numbers, but he had the great athleticism. Okay, but they started doing it in the NFL. And so we were able to see, okay, can he unlock these things? So Fant is in the kind of the stream of a George Kittle more than Kyle Pitts, because Kyle Pitts has a whole package, which is, I guess, is why people, to be fair, are saying, well, he's going to be the one who is going to do it, if anyone. I'm just saying there's at least 8 players that I'm taking who have a stronger chance of turning into points and consistent fungible value, right? That can still be traded. But good luck trading Evan Engram for a first now. But you can still trade any of these rookie running backs that you've taken the last several years that have done even close to good, okay? If you took Keyshawn Vaughn at the end of the first, you're out of luck. But everybody else, right? David Montgomery, maybe not, but Miles Sanders, you can get a late first. Josh Jacobs, maybe not now, because everything that happened and Drake signing, even if that doesn't make sense, I don't care. My point is they still are holding their value, but a tight end that's not producing, that value, as soon as it goes off the lot, as soon as you draft that player in your rookie draft, there goes the value. It's gone. As soon as he has to hit day one, he has to be Hawkinson's week one. Remember his rookie week one? Everyone got all excited, right? And then it was decent the rest of the season, but not like that, right? It's got to be that like every week for people to really get excited and for his value to even go up. So you are chasing a fairy tale. You are going to go bankrupt buying lottery tickets, trying to find a tight end that is worth a rookie first round pick. Superflex, obviously, you want those quarterbacks first. There's now the running backs class. Hey, we'll talk about that in a podcast or something here soon. Not great either, but there's probably going to be at least 2, maybe 3. I'd still take ahead of him, probably just because of landing spot and draft capital. Just the way it is. At least 2 wide receivers I'd take before him. And you say, well, no, Kyle Pitts is a wide receiver. He's Calvin Johnson. I don't think so. There he is. Calvin Johnson. Let's really see. Is he Calvin Johnson? That's Calvin Johnson. Wow. That's what Calvin Johnson production looks like. Look, these are the same. These are the same basic. They're a little bit different. I got them. Yeah, I have them ordered separately. A lot of the same stats. Average, team, best, adjusted. So these are all the same. Many of the same metrics. Okay. This is what Calvin Johnson looks like. This is Kyle Pitts. It's not the same thing. You can say, well, because he was a tight end. You just proved my point for me. He's going in the NFL as a tight end. Okay. If he could somehow magically become wide receiver in the draft, my post-draft evaluation might change. Absolutely. Hope you enjoyed the surprise stream, guys. Kept it under half hour here. Tight ends, digging into what it looks like. Again, year 1 successful tight ends, rookie tight ends. I can't find a pattern to it. If I had to bet on something, it would be on the proven college production, because then I know that they can step right into the NFL and keep producing. And as long as they're meeting thresholds physically, then I'm more likely to take a chance on that. But I'm not chasing these guys who are the Gesicki's just because they run fact. My doubt and my issue with Gesicki is always from the very beginning been, why hasn't he produced more, being that big and fast and everything. Okay. Pitts has some of that production at least. It's still a lottery ticket. Maybe you think it's a lottery ticket that has 5 times better chance of winning. Okay, it's still 1 in a million instead of 500 million, but it's still not great. So hope you enjoyed it. Again, check out the rookie vision tool. I hope you guys enjoyed it. You can adjust the things down here. I have a whole video on how to use it. I've updated some things. As you can see, some of this year's rookies are in there. Been uploading some of that data here and there, and I have an introduction page where I will put in some of that information. I actually need to add an update right there saying that I added some, but it's not comprehensive at all. It was mostly ones that I had easy access to, that I could double, that I could to have confirmed, right, and that were interesting players I wanted to look into. And this topic came up on Twitter. Pitts. Sorry. Even Kittle, year 1 wasn't worth it. After that, sure, but you could got Kittle so cheap so many places. Vernon Davis, like I said, as far as I'm concerned, he was better. Kyle Pitts, and he took him 3 years. Took him 3 years. It was his 4th year that was his really true NFL fantasy relevancy kind of breakout. And then guys like Kelsey are just the kicker, because you look at it and it's like, This completely ruins anything that I think is predictive, because you're looking at the best tight end, a top 3 tight end as far as fantasy for the last 2 decades in Travis Kelce. And that's what the profile looks like. So good luck making any predictions that you're worth betting a first round pick on. I'll take the much higher, we're talking 50% plus win rates on first round running backs. I'll take that over the tight end. And that's my suggestion to you too. I'm working on my rookie ranks. Obviously, you can see I'm digging in this stuff. Hope to have some of those things out next week. We'll talk landing spots, especially for running backs, where that actually matters. Not so much for tight ends and wide receivers, at least not in ways that we can predict. In hindsight, maybe we can reveal some of the ways that it was a good or bad landing spot. But as far as figuring out ahead of time in any meaningful way, every time I do it, I go back and evaluate and I say, we got it all wrong. We got this wrong. With running back, I can go back and I can oftentimes figure out that I had the right narrative, but the team just didn't do what I expected them to do, or they just ended up with a free agent or something like that. Or like the Falcons, they just continue to refuse to take a running back with any high draft capital, and then end up signing guys like Gurley and so on, even though I've been saying for 2 years they were in desperate need for a running back, and they still didn't draft it. Maybe this is the year, finally, 3 years later. But those are what my landing spot matrix helps me to reveal. And so I'm guessing you're going to have teams like the Falcons and the Steelers, and teams like that are going to be up at the top with the highest value. And that's going to go in and slightly boost value to players that go into that in my rankings after the draft. But I'll have that all figured out and ready to go. So I just got to punch in the draft spot, and there we'll have our ranks, post NFL draft ranks. Thanks again, guys. Hope you enjoyed this surprise stream. Hope you could hear me. Hope everything was set up right. I was struggling with the green screen and stuff, so I hope you could hear me. Really impromptu. See you next time. Check out, like I said, the Tool podcast. I had Zach Reed on from Dynasty Dummies last week. Good stuff. And I got some fun things coming. Some fake football fights, both between me and people, and also I might be hosting one. That'll be fun between 2 other people. That'll be a first. So keep an eye on the stream and on the podcast stream. Follow, whatever, subscribe, like, you know what to do. See you guys next time.